Carlisle is just 10 miles from Scotland, and the city's turbulent history reflects the constant shifting of the border over the years. In fact, Carlisle is the only city in England that is not in the Domesday Book, as it was in Scotland at the time the book was compiled. Initially, the city was a Roman settlement developed at the time Hadrian built his wall between the two countries. Contrary to popular belief, Hadrian's wall was built not so much to keep the Scots out, but as a customs post to keep an eye on and to extract levies from traders passing through this northernmost border of the Roman Empire. On your route from Carlisle to Hadrian's Wall lies the town of Brampton, where St Martin's Church is one of Cumbria's artistic gems. This is the only church ever designed by the famous pre-Raphaelite architect Philip Webb, while the astonishing stained glass windows created by Sir Edward Burne-Jones have been described as glowing with gemstone colours. The road past Lanercost Priory leads to a particularly well-preserved section of Hadrian's Wall, which runs along a high ridge to the village of Gilsland. When the Romans left, lawlessness prevailed. By the 1300s, bands of Scottish and English families, the border reivers, were plundering the area. The Romans had introduced the practice of driving cattle and sheep while riding on horseback, and this was a skill enthusiastically adopted by the reivers to make off with stolen livestock. In 1525, in despair at the activities of the reiver families, Archbishop Dunbar of Glasgow invoked a curse against them. "I curse their head and all the hairs on their head," he ranted, continuing in this vein for 1,069 well-chosen words. As part of the Millennium celebrations, Carlisle Council thought it would be a good idea to commission a local artist to inscribe part of this curse on a stone, which was duly placed in the underpass leading to Carlisle Castle. The city promptly seemed to undergo a particular run of disasters. Floods, foot and mouth disease, even the relegation of Carlisle United football team were all blamed on the cursing stone, and demands grew for it to be removed. The cost of disposing of 14 tons of granite could not be justified, however, so the stone remains, and the city holds its breath. Whatever the impact of the Archbishop's curse on modern Carlisle, it had no effect on the reivers, and in the early 1600s, King James I of England, who was also King of Scotland, set about finally bringing law and order to the region. Many of the reiver families were deported to the new American colonies, where their family names, both English and Scottish, endured. Armstrong, the surname of the first man on the moon, was a reiver family, as was Nixon. But it was not just their names that these settlers took with them. They also took to America the practice of moving cattle while riding on horseback. The reivers were the ancestors of the American cowboy, and also, because old habits die hard, of the gunmen and rustlers of the Wild West.